So we have 31,470. We're multiplying that by 1.12 and we get... I didn't hear you, I'm sorry. 227? 47. And multiplying that by 1.12 gets us 39,477. Okay? So let's plot those points on this graph right here. 0 is 20,000. 1 is 22,400. So it's going to be 25,000, so maybe like right there-ish. 3 is 28,000. 4 is 31,000. 5 is 30. Well, I skipped 4. Uh-oh, I did something wrong. 22, oh, 25. I missed 25. That's what happened. Ignore that. Oh, I hate when I mess up. I haven't messed you guys up, have I? No, I didn't. It's right there. And then that one's 31. And then 4 is... Ugh. That one's 31? Okay. And then 35... Seriously? Okay. So it's kind of curvish like that, right? Wait, am I allowed to connect those?
Yes.
How do you know I can connect them? Is it a function? Do we have an equation yet? Not yet, we don't, do we? But guess what it asks us to find next? I wish we knew some sort of general form for an exponential function that we could plug stuff in. Oh my gosh, a times b to the x. Do we know the initial amount? 20,000. So isn't that a? Do we know a common ratio? 1.12 to the x power. See, it would have been a lot easier to know that first before we did the table, wouldn't it? Because I could just put that in y equals and go look at the table. So suppose after you graduate, you're going to go to law school. How much are you going to owe after 8 years of school? 49,519. Can I be picky? 49,519 what? Oh, dollars. Okay. And the table, is it really dollars or is it just numbers? It already tells us it's money, so we don't have to do anything. But now it's a word problem. We need to label it appropriately. Okay? So suppose after graduation you decide on medical school instead. How much are you going to owe after 12 years? $77,920. What's the domain and range of this function? Of this problem situation, excuse me. So the x's in this problem represent years, right? The time that you're in school. So what kind of x values are we going to talk about in this problem?
0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So basically only positive numbers, right? Can you go to school for 1.5 years? Yeah, so can I really connect this? Yeah, because I can have partial years, right? Okay, so x is going to be greater than or equal to 0. Let me write it correctly. X such that x is greater than or equal to 0. I don't even know if the words such that are right, so if they're not, I'm sorry. What about my range? But it's money, right? So can't I have $10? Or $4,000? I can, but it asks specifically for this problem situation, doesn't it? And in this problem, I start at 20,000, and it's just going up from there, isn't it? So my range is going to be y is greater than or equal to 20,000. Now at some point, should I be able to talk about $10? When? When I start paying it back, right? But for now, the way the word problem is presented, I'm only talking about the interest that's being earned. Okay? Now, your homework is the second problem right here. But before you start, we need to talk about the common ratio part. The mathy math stuff that we talked about back here. Okay? When am I going to be adding these two together? When something's gaining value, right? Is there any point in time something would lose value? Can you think of an example of that? Maybe like a car when you get it for graduation? If you get a car, I don't know what you're getting for graduation.
Car insurance.
Okay? So, if I was doing that kind of problem, I would start with 20,000, multiply it by point whatever, in this case 0.12, and then I would subtract it from the original 20,000, wouldn't I? So, thinking about this a little bit backwards, I would have to start with 20,000 and subtract the 20,000 times 0.12. So what would actually go right there in a value where something's depreciating in value or losing value? 0.88, right? Because it would be 1 minus 0.12 and not 1 plus 0.12. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Okay, any questions? All right, I'll be checking the problem number 2 when you get here tomorrow. How does this relate to what we were supposed to talk about today? What was our goal? Can we find an equation having a table? Can we find a table?
Just all the problem.
If we have an equation, things like that. Are we good on especially finding A and B and using A and B? Yes? Good.